Hello everyone, welcome to Veranda IAS in this series of lectures of current affairs associated with social issues. The topic of the discussion for the day is ShramShakti Portal, one of the important topics. With this topic, the learning objectives are to discuss the ShramShakti Portal, to outline why this portal was in news, then to expand the objectives of creating the portal. What was the need to create this portal? Then we will describe the schemes to help migrant workers. From where migrant workers are coming? ShramShakti Portal helps migrant workers. Then we will list the steps taken for tribal welfare. Recently, ShramShakti Portal was launched. ShramShakti Portal was announced to be launched by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Mr. Munda was the Tribal Affairs Minister. Mr. Munda launched this portal and he had certain aims which he said that this portal, certain gaps which this portal is going to subside, which this portal is going to help in. So basically the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has created ShramShakti Portal. Important, don't get confused, it is Ministry of Tribal Affairs who has created ShramShakti, a national migration support portal. A national migration support portal related to the data of the migrant workers, the issue of migrant workers. The pathetic condition of the migrant workers were visible to us after the COVID-19 pandemic. When the pandemic took place, government announced the lockdown. Then we saw the queues, long queues of the migrant workers. There were news in the papers, news in the news channels which was telling that the workers were walking for thousands of kilometers barefooted, because at that time railways were not working, roadways were suspended, because they were not having any jobs in the cities where they were living. Because of the lockdown, they started moving barefooted on their bicycles, and with no or other support, they started moving for thousands of kilometers to their villages, to their hometowns. At that time, we also saw various social workers came to forefront to help those migrants. And since that time, migrant workers and their conditions have been the talk of the town. Migrant workers' pathetic condition. Why? Because after that we saw that COVID-19 pandemic got reduced, lockdown was opening, and these people were turning back to the cities where they were working from their villages. Again there was news of second wave, again there was issue of survival of the migrant workers. Because their hometown is distant, because of lack of job opportunities, they were moving to the cities which were facing the dearth of the COVID-19 disease, pandemic. And also we saw the movement of the migrant workers was one of the important causes for spread of COVID-19 to the distant villages, remote villages, where these migrant workers in large number moved from the cities. So now the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has come forward to tackle some issues related to migrant people. What issues? Migrant people have certain issues. Those certain issues are underreported or not reported. The reason behind this is lack of data. This is what Minister of Tribal Affairs said. He said that there is a data gap. There is a data gap. There is no maintenance of the data of the people who are migrant in the source cities as well as in the destination cities. The villages from where they are moving, the small towns from where they are moving to the big cities where they are moving, there is no maintenance of data. Since there is no maintenance of data, whatever scheme central government is having for the welfare of the migrant workers, the benefits of the schemes are not reaching to the migrant workers. They are not even, in most of the cases, aware of the schemes which are there to help them, to support them. So with this hope, with this aspiration, ambition that ShramShakti Portal will be bridging this data gap, will be maintaining a system, will be maintaining a data sheet of the migrant workers from their starting destination to their ending destination, and then this data will be helpful for the ministries, for the central government to send the benefits of various schemes to the migrant workers. Not only this, amongst all this, Minister of Tribal Affairs said that it is tribal migrant worker who is facing the worst consequences of all this. Tribal migrant worker. Already we were discussing about the issues of the migrant workers. Now it is tribal migrant worker. Tribes already are having their own problems. So tribal migrant workers are the people who are facing the worst consequences of any of the data gaps or any of the loopholes. To make sure that these tribal migrant workers also feel included, also are part of or the beneficiaries of the schemes by the central government, there is ShramSakti Portal launched along with ShramShakti Portal. What is it? That is for tribal migrant workers, to help tribal migrant workers to reap the benefits of the schemes. Additionally, a migrant labor training booklet, which was dubbed as ShramSakti, was prepared. ShramSakti is mainly for helping tribal migrant workers and also for training them, for imparting them skills to do some job. It was established to collect data on tribal migrant laborers and connect them to current assistance programs. And connect them to the current schemes of the government, current assistance programs of the government. What is the news? Why this topic is in news? To make the creation of state and national programs for migrant workers easier. ShramShakti Portal was in news because to make the creation of state and national programs for migrant workers easier, it was Ministry of Tribal Affairs which has launched ShramShakti Portal, a national migration support portal, in the month of January in 2021. COVID-19 taught us a lot of things. For migrant laborers, a training document called ShramSakti was also released. What are the objectives of creating the portal? We have discussed. We'll see what will be your language in writing your answers. The objective of creating this portal: to address the data gap. To address the data gap, we can say maintain the data. To maintain the data. ShramShakti will collect a variety of statistics including demographic information, livelihood possibilities, skill mapping and migratory patterns as well. Then the government will be able to tackle the patterns of the migrant workers, and probably with this government will be easier. It will be easier for the government to give the facilities to the migrant worker. ShramShakti will collect a variety of statistics including demographic information, livelihood possibilities, then skills for some jobs, ShramSakti, skill mapping, and then migratory patterns as well. It will contribute to the empowerment of employees who move in quest of work and revenue generating. It will help. What will be the objective? To help in employment generation, to tackle the problem of unemployment, to contribute to the empowerment of employees who move in quest of work and revenue generating, to help the people who want to give employment, the employees, help them because they will be knowing that here it is labor which will be available. What is the pattern of the labor? The laborers have what skill sets? Similarly, they can be appointed, they can be hired, and it will be great for the people who want to participate in revenue generating. Next is, the objective is to help in formulation of strategies, formulation of policies, of schemes related to the migrant workers. It would assist national and state governments as well in developing effective strategies. It will help national governments as well as state governments in developing effective strategies and policy decisions that promote the welfare of migratory workers in both the source and destination states. If we know what is the problem, then only we will be able to tackle the problem, right? If you have fever and you are taking medicines for some other disease, then you are not going to get rid of fever. Similarly, if we are working for migrant workers, we need to maintain the data. We need to identify their skill set, their problem, their pattern, and then only their schemes will be helpful in creating employment or tackling the problems of the migrants. Next objective is to address the various issues related to migrants. What is it? Various issues related to migrants are, when migrants are moving from one place to another, one of the important problems faced by them is economic problem, that is unemployment, that is search of the residents, that is search of the jobs, and then at the jobs there will be wages harassment issues, they will be paid less, they will be not treated properly. Apart from that, social issues also exist. What are the social issues? Trafficking of the laborers. And specifically if they are children, they are women, trafficking increases. The cases are more. Then there are occupational hazards at the workplace as well. Unsafe, unhygienic workplaces and industries. Then there is a list of the schemes to help migrant workers, some of the schemes by the national government, by the central government to help migrant workers in the country. Remember the names of the schemes and some of the details. First is ASEEM portal. ASEEM portal. The acronym stands for Atmanirbhar Talented Employee-Employer Mapping. Name suggests you a lot. Atmanirbhar Talented Employee-Employer Mapping. The ASEEM portal is operated by, ministry is important, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. The ASEEM portal is operated by this ministry, supports talented persons in identifying sustainable livelihood opportunities. It is a scheme, a portal that connects employee and the employer. The employer is searching for certain set of skills, and if the employee has, then he will be employed in identifying sustainable livelihood opportunities. Next such a scheme is National Migrant Information System, NMIS dashboard. NMIS dashboard. This dashboard is developed by National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, important. This dashboard is developed by National Disaster Management Authority, which is NDMA, and it will act as a central repository for migrant workers and provide speedy interstate communication. What is the work for this? Speedy interstate communication in order to ensure migrant workers safe and orderly return to their homes. This dashboard helps in maintaining the data in case of any calamity, in case of any pandemic like COVID-19. The data will be maintained, then it will be easier for the migrant workers to move from the source destination to the destination, from source to the destination or destination to the source. So this is developed and this is maintained by National Disaster Management Authority. Next comes the next scheme is labor law codification. Next step we can say is the labor law codification. What is it? Numerous labor regulations have been combined into 4 labor codes in recent years. The recent development is various labor laws, labor regulations were there. They were all combined recently into 4 labor codes, including the 2019 Code on Wages, 2020 Industrial Relations Code, 2020 Social Security Code, and 2020 Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions. These 4 labor codes are there. Wages, Industrial Relations Code, Social Security Code, and then Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions. Additionally, they are aimed at fostering industrialization across the country, hence minimizing the distressed labor migration. If there is job opportunity in the hometown, then why will the laborers go to the metro cities? The laborers will not move. It is job opportunity, or better sources of livelihoods that attract laborers and the workers to the cities. So basically, these schemes, labor law codification, aim at industrialization of the country. With industrialization, along with employment, a lot of development opportunities come to the areas. So one aspect is unemployment, which will be tackled with the industrialization. Apart from that, also we have numerous benefits. Now some schemes, just the names you have to read about the tribal welfare. We have discussed that this is also concerning, ShramSakti is also concerned with the tribal migrant workers. Apart from that, there are some schemes by the central government for the tribal welfare, for the welfare and assimilation of tribal population. What is it? It is Pradhan Mantri Wan Dhan Yojana, PMVDY. Then it is Eklavya model residential schools are being established. Then it is the steps taken by TriFed, Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India. In our other sessions, we have discussed this, and also in our upcoming sessions, we'll be having a detailed discussion on all these. So this was all for today. Today we discussed about the ShramShakti Portal. We discussed about why this portal was in news. We discussed the objectives of creating this portal. We discussed the schemes to help migrant workers, and then we discussed the steps taken for tribal welfare in our country. I hope you all enjoyed this session. We will continue our discussion from here. Till then, stay tuned, keep studying. Thank you so much.